I want to talk to you about transformations. Like a modern-day male Tracy Chapman, I want to talk to you about a revolution. And the revolution is data. I'm acting principal of the International Community School Amman, and we are proud to be the home of the Mona Lisa effect. What is the Mona Lisa effect? It's a unique blend of personalised learning, whereby the learning looks at every single child in the school, directly, individually, as a unique person. And we do this through data. At the ICS, we don't just use data. Data is at the centre of every single thing that we do. And we use it as a triangle of 3 points, each of which is as critical as the other. Obviously, we need to understand a child's attainment, where they're at. But we also need to understand their aptitude, where they could be. And then critically, and this is where many schools miss it out, we need to understand their attitude. Oftentimes the reason why there's a gap between the one and the other. And with the data triangle, we're able to see the whole child, a 360-degree view of what makes that child tick. Many a teacher claims that they know their children. And I think it's nonsense. How can we know our children when our children and what they manifest to us in the classroom is but the tip of a rockberg? Here you have Uluru, a vast monolith in the centre of the red centre of the Australian subcontinent. When I first visited, I assumed, like we all do, that this is a large flat rock that's sitting on the desert. But I was told something very different, that actually it used to be, but millions of years ago, after chaos deep below, this large flat rock was flipped 90 degrees. And what we actually are seeing is the tip of a rockberg that goes so far beneath the surface that even modern technology would struggle to see the bottom. And it seems to me that that is today's child. Today's child wears multiple masks. They wear masks because of their language. And many of the children I've worked with throughout my career are children who are learning through a language other than their own. And when that is the case, how do they cope? They wear a mask to protect themselves. And many of the children we are working with, even in upper primary and throughout secondary, are in the throes of adolescence. And that's a complicated place these days. As adults, we're making it even more complicated. So how do children cope? They wear a mask. Many of the cultures where international schools are now proliferating are cultures where face is everything, where reputation is all. And so students don't want to lose face with their peers. So, how do they cope? They wear a mask. And with children wearing multiple masks every single day, even the very best teachers can't hope to see what lies beneath without the tool of the data triangle. Many teachers, especially those who come from a UK background, are a little scared of data. They see data as a stick with which they're beaten by government and by targets and by inspections. For me, however, the data that we have, the data that comes from the data triangle, are just flags on the beach. Look at this guy with his metal detector trying to find the coins or the bottle tops that represent the treasure for which he's looking here. Let's imagine this beach is 10 times bigger. Let's imagine that instead of him having to scour it with his metal detector, every single place where there is a little bit of treasure, real treasure buried, there's a little flag that says, there may be treasure here. Suddenly, he can get rid of the metal detector, he can grab his shovel instead, and he can start to dig. So we're not just teachers. I believe as teachers, we're treasure hunters. And every single day, armed with the data triangle, with the data flags on the beach in front of us, we're digging for treasure. And I believe that there is treasure within every single child with whom I've ever worked. And data in this way becomes a beautiful and humanistic thing, something that enables us truly to know the real child. And then we start to learn their stories. And like the role-play games and Dungeons and Dragons books from my own childhood, we can help them to choose the ending. We can take an unfinished story at the age of 9 or 11 or 13 or 15, and armed with this data, we can help that story take a totally different course. And actually, we can empower those children to change their ending, just because we are all armed with the data triangle. And then on an institutional level, we can start to change orbits. Suddenly as schools, we don't have to revolve around our board of governors or around our parents or around our teachers. Everything can revolve around the individual child, because finally we know the individual child. And that's exactly how surely it should be. And then the candle of curiosity, which burns brightly in children of 2 years old who ask why all the time. Suddenly, we can keep that candle of curiosity burning right through childhood and right through adolescence, because if we know exactly what makes the child tick, then we can fashion a learning experience which can keep their candle of curiosity burning every single day, and can also then empower them to have the self-efficacy that they are not afraid anymore to take risks. And we know that it's through taking risks that children make those leaps of progress. But with the masks that they wear, that can be a scary thing to do. But if we're armed with this data, and this data creates a net so tight underneath them that if they do fall, they know they will be caught, then children can start to walk those high wires every single day. It's a road, it's a process. Many schools realise they need to take those steps down the data road, but they're scared to do so. To them, I would say, don't be scared, any more than we'd want our children to be scared. Realise that this data road is one that we have to tread. It's one that we have an obligation and a duty to tread. And if we tread it, we too can become the treasure hunters that can truly transform children's lives. So if you want to find out more, if you want to join me on this road, if you want to join me in my own quest for the Mona Lisa effect in your classroom, then drop me an email, follow me on Twitter, look at my website to find out more about the work that I've been doing with schools in Nigeria, in India, in Japan, in Spain, and all across the world. There's an army of teachers and leaders on a quest for the Mona Lisa effect.